Wanna know a fun fact? This is the first time I ever had to scrap and redo a video. Hooray. Anyway, do you understand why a majority of games nowadays are rated E for everyone? Well, it certainly isn't because a 7-year-old can still play Candy Crush and a 5-year-old can still play Fork Knife. It's because gaming has something for everyone. Young, old, men, women, non-binary, looking at you, normal people, even Twitter users. You want to test your brain? Go play Tetris or something. Want to experience what it's like to work in a restaurant? Go play Papa's Pizzeria. Do you want to actually succeed at soccer? Go play FIFA. Or you can just go to the dollar store and get like a foam football or soccer ball, you stupid oh, wait, we're in a pandemic. Okay, but seriously, who plays FIFA? It's the same goddamn game every single year. What's new? Graphics? Yeah, I'm sure the extra smooth facial details would turn out fine when the game starts lagging. Oh, who even buys this stuff though? And it's the same thing with racing games. It's all just the same thing every single year. Like there wouldn't be anything aside from doing laps, maybe sick jumps and drifts with your motorcycles or cars, and making, best times, but at some point it just gets boring and repetitive, and gaming should never be like that. You should try and get a new experience. Do you ever feel like that sometimes, where you just want to try something new? Well, if you said yes, then maybe you might be interested in hearing about today's sponsor, Raid Shadow. No, I'm kidding. I'll never get sponsored. But still, maybe you'll be interested in today's topic, which is a little game show called Split Second. Was developed by BlackRock Studios and with assistance from Disney Interactive Studios. The company that made these games, like Epic Mickey and other games. While BlackRock Studios has also made its own selection of games, albeit the majority of these are racing related. Okay, they're all racing related, and they were all mediocre and absolute flops based on these Metacritic scores and the sales that they made, which probably explains why they had to change their studio name so much to get away from the bad press that they were constantly setting for themselves. They originally started out as Climax Group / Brighton, which is where it's based on, England, Brighton, which is where the company, originated from, and eventually became Climax Racing and Driving. And then finally in 2006 of September, after Disney Interactive turned to Climax into their puppet, bought Climax and renamed it BlackRock Studios. There's a joke to be said somewhere, but I don't think I will. With the new company breathing down their neck and a history of failed racing games behind them, BlackRock needed a new IP. So they went to the drawing board with a game called Pure, a dirt bike racing and trick performing game on September 16, 2008. Really? This is what you're gonna show to Disney executives? No wonder your company got... Wait, no, never mind, I can't spoil that yet. Anyway, it was a bit better than what their previous titles were like, albeit they were pretty mediocre scores. So they went back to the car fetish board, thinking of new, exciting, engaging, epic games. No, not you, Epic Games. Go back to making the Unreal Engine. But yeah, they needed to keep this streak up because Disney Interactive at the same time was losing money than they were making it. Many other games around this time were not selling as big as they had hoped, so they were on the chopping block if they didn't get something out. After a few months behind the Iron Curtain, in March 2009, BlackRock and Disney Interactive had pitched and revealed their latest project, which would be titled Split Second, plus Velocity if you were across the pond. And eventually we reached May 18th, 2010, where the game released for, everybody to play and buy. What else are you going to do with the game? So alright, so just remember all that, okay? Because I'm going to quiz you on that later. So now that you got a sample of who the company is behind it and what exactly was at stake here and why the game was developed, now we can judge whether or not it was a unique title or just another flop in their game history. plot of this game is you are a new recruit trying out to participate in the game show. Split second, obviously. You go and complete the tutorial, sign the waiver, wait what, and say your last goodbyes as you're finally ready to compete in the game show. There are a total of 12 episodes in the season, which is the campaign, each with 6 events to beat and various challenges to overcome. 4 events in every episode are already unlocked for you, so you can just get going, while the other 2 are locked behind either A, making your own kill count, wait what, and getting enough credits. Credits are the scoring that the competition uses to determine your progress throughout the season. You get these by completing races from 1st to 7th place, unlocking the episode's final challenge, and being able to move on to the next round, as well as unlocking more cards to use with differing stats such as strength, drifting, acceleration, etc. All good for various events. Speaking of, this game isn't a typical racing title, no. Besides the game show aesthetic of it, there's a multitude of modes you must master before you can claim the title of champion, so I'll go over them right now. Race. The most obvious and self-explanatory mode, complete 2 laps or 3 laps around the track and shoot for the highest position. I didn't even need to explain that to you, dumbass. Elimination. The race begins with a 60-second timer that, when is over, destroys the last place car from the race. Yeah, you heard me, they're literally blowing up their competitors. Then the timer suddenly drops to 20 seconds as if it was nothing, eliminating the next last place car. This continues until only 1st and 2nd place are left, and then 2nd place is destroyed last. Sounds fun, I know, that's why you signed the waiver earlier. Your soul is now ours. Detonator, a simple event where you race around the map just once in an attempt to beat the fastest time set, aka a time trial. Except there's a twist! You don't get to choose the vehicle for the event. You're given a vehicle that's unlocked later on throughout the game. However, it has either A, high recoil, B, low speed, or C, low drift speed, making your speed running difficult. No, Dream, get out of here. This isn't for you. This is Minecraft. And as if that wasn't bad enough, Mother Nature suddenly hates you and decides to trigger every trap on the freaking track. Yeah, I said trap. I'll talk about that a bit later. But for now, this game just really wants you dead. Survival, a mode premiered in Episode 3, Big Rig Boom, featuring you in event-specific arenas, racing past decoys and big rigs. You have to beat the score limit by passing trucks, which give you points, as well as an addition to your multiplier. When you pass 3, your multiplier jumps up to 1. However, you only get 30 seconds to do this, and with additional time added, you basically just have, I believe, only like 10 seconds if you screw up, because there's also a life counter that you need to worry about, and it goes down, which not only ruins a life but also ruins your multiplier. But wait, Donkey Kong must have made a cameo, because the trucks drop barrels after you as if it's nothing. Red barrels just automatically kill you, while blue barrels just slow you down. And if that wasn't bad enough to hear, if you're too slow on this race, then the timer runs out, sudden death is initiated, and now the trucks will only drop red barrels, and your life counter is set to 1. Fantastic. Airstrike. It was available in Episode 2. Essentially, you need to gain points by surviving missile waves. Yeah, you heard right, missiles. The Split Second team really do love violence, huh? What channel is this broadcasting on? MTV or something? It's the same concept as survival, except it just goes on the main mode maps. So essentially, you just have a multiplier, you have the increasing difficulty. There's no timer, luckily, this time around. You just need to survive. However, the longer you take, the more missiles the helicopter sends after you, because this crew really loves pain. Luckily, in Episode 6 / the mid, episode of the season, Air Revenge is introduced. Essentially, because this crew loves enjoying us suffer, we shall now deploy that pain back onto the chopper. I mean, why can't we just do it to the executives? Just crash into the building. 9/11 again. All you need to do is take down the chopper as fast as you can before you lose against the 1st place timer, sending, the 2nd place, obviously. Revenge is a dish best served cold. You do this by just building up a little drift meter that I'm about to explain in a bit. And finally, Elite Races, the last event in every episode that tests what you learned against 7 other more professional and hardcore racers, aka CPUs. Names by Livewire, Torpedo, Raptor, Vixen, Brawn, The Hammer, and Rig. To gain entry into the race, though, you need enough credits, and to complete the actual event itself and move on to the next episode, you have to score 3rd place or above to pass, which can be difficult, especially if you drive like a normal GTA 5 player. The other main gimmick of the game besides the challenges and maps is drifting and power plays. Power plays are the energy source that allows you to detonate various traps and obstacles onto the map when rivals get too close or are far away from you. You can have 3 bars at any time until you eventually have to recharge them once they're used. They allow you to use shortcuts, allow you to change the track itself if you have a second level more powerful power play called a route changer. In order to charge the meter up though, you need to drift your car around turns or corners, near miss and survive rival detonate traps, draft behind other cars, or just perform jumps and drift/jump passes. From setting off vans, buses, and cars to entire buildings, ships, and planes, and even committing Final Destination 5 itself with sick replays you can choose to watch that, don't worry, you won't crash when you're watching it. It takes you out of the immersion though. It's still pretty fun though. So I guess you can just watch these groundbreaking moments in peace. Thank you, I'm not funny. But it's fairly easy system once you complete the tutorial, so it won't be much of an issue. Probably. So with a game like this that received relatively great reviews at the end of it, with all its mechanics, all its gameplay, it opened itself up to a sequel, with the game's ending cutscene being a shadow company breaking into the set, setting off the traps, and destroying everything with a wrecking ball, ending with the words, "To be continued." I was looking forward to a sequel. And yet, this is where our problem begins. Split Second was a financial fluke, selling only 86,000 US copies in almost 2 weeks of its, launch, which compared to games at the time that were also released, such as Red Dead Redemption for PS3 and Xbox 360, only 5 million copies were in its first 3 weeks, winning 4 categories in Ganga, GDCA, SPGA, and 5 categories in Interactive Achievement Awards. Alan Wake for the 360 selling only 145,000 units. I assume it's just talking about copies in a different way. So 145k, I guess. Correct me if I'm wrong though. And winning 1 category in an annual Game Music Awards, GameSpot's Top 10, and IGN's Top 10. What did Split Second win? Nothing. Things got worse with the rise of mobile apps at the time, because this was 2010. Angry Birds, Fruit Ninja, and other nostalgic games compared to console titles at the time. And with Disney Interactive's other games like Epic Mickey and such being also financial losses for the company, they made the decision to cut off more than half of the studio of BlackRock. An article by ZGM states an anonymous source from BlackRock explains that there will be 100 layoffs, leaving 40 or so people left, and they needed a new IP right now, or else the company will be shut down. You can guess how well that went. They tried to scramble anything together, like even a sequel for Pure Split Second, which I would have loved, but they were rejected and ignored. To quote from the article, "It seems Disney has been unable to provide us with a project to work on, and our concept pitches clearly haven't gone down well, despite there being many of them. After Split Second wrapped, we started work on Split Second 2 pre-production, which was cancelled last December due to Disney Interactive State's new management and their changing priorities, the push towards freemium content. Split Second 2 didn't really fit in with that, despite some efforts to shoehorn it in, which, if you don't know, freemium is like a free game with like microtransactions. Think of like Plants vs. Zombies 2, for example, or Club Penguin Island." He said, "We had a concept week, everyone in the studio working on small teams to try to come up with new ideas, but nothing really stuck. We had a freemium week sometime later on with similar goals too." A bit later in the article, they quote from Disney Interactive Studios confirms the reduction of its workforce from its Brighton-based internal game development studio, BlackRock Studios. The studio will continue its work on its current project. A representative from the publisher said, "As sad as the news may be, this isn't the first time that Disney Interactive has been forced to let go of some of its staff. Back in January, the publisher went through a restructuring process that resulted in the loss of approximately 700 jobs." And just like other companies, they aren't afraid to take down any indie developers just because their game was a massive fluke or didn't make them enough money. Speaking of which, when they talk about restructuring, Graham Hopper, which was the Disney Interactive's general manager at the time, who was behind some of the decisions of title releases in the past, was retiring, and so left the word to John Pleasance, the co-president of the Disney Interactive Media Group, replacing him around November 20th, 2010, months after Split Second was released. This was also a financially fueled decision since the guy wasn't doing enough to maximize their profits, so they figured just replace him, which influenced their decision to move on from console titles and choosing to developer-made mobile apps through a freemium style. Freemium, like I said, is a term used to describe free games or services with microtransactions, like Where's My Water 2 having only some levels to play while you got to pay for the rest of them. A formula that varies between companies, but it was their last-ditch effort, so what can you do? And they had to make money before the DNI would eventually go bankrupt and quit, so... Fortunately, in mid-2011, BlackRock died. So, yeah. It sucks. Even after 11 years, Split Second still is played or emulated by people on Xbox, PS4, or PC by very little people. It's amazing that there is still even a small tiny flame of fans left to talk about it or wonder how they would make Split Second. I mean, when I was younger, I was so excited to see what would happen to the set and if we had to take it back from them by erasing them or something. Even finding out that there was literally only one teaser showing what could have been. And finding out about all this, I was disappointed. Rest in peace, BlackRock. You made a game that no one ever has or will make again. I thank you for making some of my childhood. Well, before this gets depressing, I want to thank you for sitting with me on this adventure through a unique racing game. I highly recommend you play it if you ever have the platform that you can enjoy it on. If you enjoyed this commentary, like it, or don't, it's fine either way. I know it's been a long time. I'm sorry again. Life is busy, especially that I have to get back to education. So I hope you have a great day, people. Take care now. See you next time. Oh, and it's also pretty hot, so mind the fan in the background. Summer fucking sucks.